Thank you, Victor. Eleftherios Michael is an academic director for Peace and Conflict Resolution Program of the Washington Semester Program at the American University in Washington, D.C. He is one of our directors, and he is also a conflict analyst and conflict resolution practitioner with more than a decade of experience in post-conflict zones. Please welcome Eleftherios Michael.
Good evening, His Excellency. Good evening, Mr. Papakostas, colleagues, all of you, friends, colleagues from Cyprus, Greece, Serbia, and beyond the region. Daniel, I think you should stand up. You are the champion for doing all of this. Thank you. I will share two quick stories. First of all, I'm excited to be here with you. My son was baptized in this church 5 years ago, Alexis, and I'm delighted when you picked up this place. I haven't been back for some time now. I go to another church in Baltimore where I live, the Annunciation, some of you might be familiar with, so it's always nice to be back. I want to keep my comments, a few comments, and a quick comments. I'm an academic, and if you get me lunch, I can speak to you for about 7 hours. If you get me dinner, I can speak to you all night long. If you put some music, we will keep dancing until the morning hours. So that's comment one. Comment two, it's fundamental that you stay united as a diaspora. That's the most important thing for you, and you have some champions here, standing to my left and to my right, including myself, that can accomplish that for all of you. It's important that the voice of Serbia and the Serbian people, not only in Serbia, in Republika Srpska as well, and beyond, have a permanent presence in Washington, D.C. The third point, which is also very quick, it has to do with the European Union, because Daniel asked me to touch upon this. It's a very sensitive issue, and coming from the island of Cyprus, a divided island, I'm a refugee from the northern part of Cyprus after the Turkish invasion in 1974, living to the south. Then I went to do my studies in Central Europe, then London, and the last 6 years I've been in the United States, where I completed my PhD. And for the last 6 years, and with this point I want to acknowledge the colleagues from the Embassy of Serbia and the Embassy of Bosnia-Herzegovina who are here with me, who also managed to facilitate some of the visits while I was taking my students to Serbia. For the last 5 years, I took more than 90 students to visit Belgrade and other locations to understand the culture. Thank you for the applause. That's not the reason I was mentioning that. And it's one of the very few initiatives where students from all over the United States get a very good understanding of what's happening in their region. They get to meet the people in Serbia. They get to go to the Bohemian section, Kalimagdan. 2 years ago, I had a student from Albania. He came to my office and he asked me, "Are they gonna kill me when I go there?" I said, "No, you just stand next to me. Nothing will happen to you." You will not believe it. You will not believe the times we stay up in the old Kalimagdan section of the city, the Bohemian section, dancing, listening to the tunes. Keep on saying, "Oh, I know this tune. I know this music too." That was a very transformative experience for a kid from Albania who grew up in the United States with a perception that Serbia and the Serbian people are his enemies. Changing people, changing lives. That's why it's very important, the point one I made. And that's what Daniel is building on, and you have to support it. It's significantly important. The last point is the EU. It's important to enter the European Union with dignity. And the Europeans have to put the act together. They have to make the commitment, they have to set clear parameters, what Serbia has to fulfill, and not to keep on changing that day after day. The Serbian people have to also make a conscious decision to decide if that's the direction they want to go or not. It's a very tough decision. At the same time, the Europeans have to make that commitment and not to keep on changing the criteria, because that challenges the credibility and the legitimacy of the institutions of the European Union. And you have seen the most recent events in Cyprus with the economic crisis, how the Troika and other institutions in the EU kept on changing their decisions, kept on changing their minds. So you are a voice in DC, you are a voice as in diaspora and so many other places in Europe is tremendously important. So please keep on supporting, keep on staying united, and Daniel, thank you as always. And the board, thank you.
Thank you, Lotharius. Appreciate that very much. One of our special guests is Mr. Antonios Papakostas, who is the political counselor from the Embassy of Greece, and I would like to join you in welcoming him.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and thank you very much for having me tonight here. I promise I'm going to be as quick as I can possibly be, because I don't want to hold off the festivities any longer than I really have to. First of all, I would like to warmly thank Daniel and the Serbian Institute for organizing this lovely evening and for offering us, the Greek Embassy, the opportunity to attend and talk a little bit about a subject which is very close to our hearts, the Greek-Serbian relations. In the more than 3 years that I've been here in this town, I think that this must be the very first time that we are offered the opportunity to talk about this subject. And we are able to exchange views and share our perspectives on this. And this wonderful venue, which, by the way, I'm visiting for the very first time tonight, is definitely adding a great deal to the whole experience. Our ambassador, unfortunately, couldn't join us here tonight, so I will make a few very brief comments on his behalf. Most of the main thoughts and points that I wanted to make have already been covered by previous speakers, and I'm sure the ambassador will elaborate a little bit more on our relations. But what I wanted to say is this. First of all, and this shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody in the room, our bilateral relations with Serbia, not only have they been really excellent across time, but they have also been extremely close and with a unique quality to them. We have fought side by side against common enemies during major conflicts. We have repeatedly helped each other in extremely challenging times and very difficult circumstances. And we have always shown deep respect, strong understanding, and unwavering loyalty and solidarity to each other. As an example, today, Greek investments in Serbia exceed 2.5 billion euros, offering jobs to more than 25,000 people and making Greece the third largest foreign investor in the country. Also, Greek beaches every summer attract a very large number of happy Serbian visitors, and we're very grateful for that, especially in difficult economic times that the ones we're going through right now. So in short, we are linked, closely linked by mighty cultural, religious, and historical bonds that have passed the test of time, and now, looking ahead, we are facing a very promising future, which brings me to the next point. Second point then, Greece has been a fully fledged EU member state since 1981. And we have always had as a top priority for our foreign policy to actively support and promote the European integration of all the countries of our region to the European Union. We have worked hard towards this goal. We have invested resources, time and energy, and in less than 2 months we are going to assume for the 5th time in our history and for the 5th time since we ourselves succeeded the European Union, the presidency of the European Union. So we would like the start of this 5th presidency to coincide with the start of the accession negotiations of Serbia to join. We strongly believe that this is a very achievable goal, and we are ready to do everything in our power to help you achieve it. And not only before you achieve it, but also after and until you become full member states yourself. Which is what I want to say last. What can we do in concrete terms to help each other along this path? Our main tool so far has been a memorandum of understanding that we have signed a few months back. And we are already in the process of implementing. Another example of this cooperation is the fact that recently our respective parliaments were linked by a EU-funded twinning program, which will allow in time the Serbian parliament to play a greater role in the upcoming accession negotiations. But this is not all, of course. There are a lot of things that we can be doing. There are a lot more ways for us to promote EU aspirations, and we are willing to put them to good use. To conclude, let me just say this. Serbia is now on the verge of embarking on a very rewarding journey towards the European Union, towards full EU membership. There will be difficult problems. There will be great challenges, but there will be also very important rewards at the end of the journey. Greece will be there every step of the way, helping and guiding and supporting until we become fellow member states of the same union. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Palakostas. I would also like to read a letter from the ambassador of Cyprus who could not join us tonight. He was supposed to be a speaker, but he had to go to another location. He says, although I cannot be with you today, I'm delighted to have been asked to share some thoughts on the relations between our two countries. And I think the venue of today's event speaks clearly of the unique bonds between our countries. In fact, both our countries have experienced the painful consequences of war, and we have stood by each other in very difficult times. This mutual loyalty has brought us even closer together. The relations and the ties between Cyprus and Serbia are truly excellent and are built on very strong foundations of traditional friendship, mutual respect, support, and solidarity. Historical, religious, and cultural similarities between the two countries have made the evolution of our relations a very natural and a very easy task, as evidenced also by the existence of a dynamic and very well-integrated Serbian community in Cyprus, and the fact that Serbia actively contributes to the UN peacekeeping force on the island with a company of about 50 soldiers. There is a conscious effort on both sides to deepen the already broad cooperation between the two countries, especially through the EU perspective, where Cyprus stands ready to offer assistance and guidance to Serbia's effort to advance its European integration path. The excellent political relations and regular exchanges of high-level visits and contacts have also strengthened and facilitated the framework for economic cooperation. Cyprus is in fact the 10th largest investor in Serbia, and we are proud of this very special relationship, and we will continue to work to enhance and strengthen it even further. That's the Ambassador of Cyprus. And now, last but not least, I'm very happy to introduce our keynote speaker, His Excellency the Ambassador of Serbia, Vladimir Petrović.
I gotta tell you, after all these speeches, the keynote doesn't mean I'm gonna be long, for sure. So first I want to start with, I was listening to all the speeches tonight, and I wanted to make a couple of comments about some of the things that were mentioned. First of all, Danielle mentioned that 24 years ago in Cleveland she had an idea about forming a Serbian Institute. It's interesting considering she was 6 at the time that she had that idea. Second, when she mentioned Alex Macheski and his titles, she forgot one of the most important in our opinion, and that's Honorary Consul of Serbia in Ohio. And also, as he was saying, that people think, according to his last name, that he's Polish. I think the rakia drinking proves you're Serbian. So, thank you for inviting me here. It's a pleasure and honor to address you. Special thanks to Daniela Sremac and board members of the Serbian Institute. I really salute your enthusiasm. It is an exceptional honor to be here for the inception of the Institute that will surely leave a lasting mark on Washington, D.C. and represent interests and views of Serbian people from both the homeland and the diaspora. The Serbian Institute will be an inclusive platform of ideas and voices representing our community and participating in the public discourse. It has been an honor for me to see the enthusiasm of board members and their hard work to create this great institute and transform an idea into reality. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been 5 years since I started representing Serbia as the ambassador in Washington, D.C. It has been 7 years since I have been posted here at our embassy. First day I took office as a chief of mission in 2008 was the day U.S. Embassy in Belgrade was burning. U.S. recognized the unilateral declaration of independence of Kosovo, and the relationship was at its lowest level since the bombing of Yugoslavia in 1999. Fast forward to today, Serbia-U.S. relations are the best we had in our more than 130 years of history. Serbia's relationship with the United States remains central to our foreign policy. This has been reiterated on many occasions and meetings between our high officials, latest of which was the meeting between Prime Minister Dačić and Vice President Biden. While enhancing our relationship in many areas, we especially appreciate the United States' support in our efforts to advance our path toward the European family of nations. We're grateful for the support of the administration vis-à-vis promoting direct investment in Serbia, enhancing the cooperation between our law enforcement agencies, and providing the means to continue strong military partnership. We had Vice President Biden in Belgrade, first time since the 1980s that the Vice President of the United States visited. Secretary Clinton visited Belgrade twice. Many other high-level visits were organized on both sides. Once again, I would like to reiterate that the Republic of Serbia remains committed to deepening and strengthening relations with the United States of America based on our shared values and mutual respect. I'm confident that in the time to come, our two countries will continue to deepen our friendship, and I know Serbian Institute is going to be crucial in that endeavor. My staff and I have worked hard to make Serbia Congressional Caucus a good platform for getting a Serbian voice heard in DC. Today we have more than 30 members in the House and 6 senators, members of the Serbian Congressional Caucus, and thank you to members of the board who personally have been involved in enlarging our Congressional Caucus. I have encouraged the Serbian Institute to work closely with members of our caucus and to inform them regularly and educate them on the things important to Serbian interest. Because of the activity because of the active work of the Serbian embassy, U.S. Congress did not pass a negative resolution for the Serbian interest in more than 7 years. We all remember the 90s when those resolutions were a common thing. Congress never, as a matter of fact, never confirmed Kosovo's independence. There was not a single resolution to that effect. So as far as the Congress is concerned, they're not independent. Let's hope it stays that way. Alex Macheski mentioned that there's a need to promote Serbia in more than one ways, and culture is one of significant ways to promote country and a culture. And we try to be very active here in Washington, D.C. And as many of you know, we had some of the visits of our famous opera singers, and we had a theater and plays and exhibitions and painters, but it's not, as we know, Washington is not United States, and there's always space to do more. One thing that Branko and I worked closely, and I hope it's going to happen in the spring, is that we're going to have our trumpet, our trubachi orchestra in New Orleans to march in Mardi Gras, which we're very proud of. So let's hope that's going to happen in the spring. I would like to emphasize that EU membership is the foremost strategic foreign policy priority of the Republic of Serbia. We firmly believe that Serbia belongs to a European family, since we share its set of values: freedom, democracy, equality, rule of law, and respect of human rights, including the rights of minorities, and we're committed to promoting them. EU is Serbia's most important trading and investment partner, and consequently one of the major factors of its economic stability. We have made significant progress during this year in achieving this goal, and this was acknowledged by the latest European Commission report. There is a long and hard EU path in front of Serbia, but it is the only path we can take to make our society better. Ladies and gentlemen, the venue that we're in, next to this beautiful and solemn church, inspires me to say a few words about bonds and ties between Serbian and Greek people. There's a long history of friendship between Serbs and Greeks through common threads that we share, among which orthodoxy and tradition take very important place. Our friendly relations and common goal of freedom have played an important role during the revolutions against the Ottoman Empire, the Balkan Wars, and the Two World Wars. I'm just talking about the modern history. Thus, many Serbs see our friendships as Serbian-Greek brotherhood and consider Greeks an ally and a brother nation. Serbian people will never forget invaluable help and support from its Greek brothers during conflicts in former Yugoslavia and NATO campaign in 1990s. Serbian kids were hosted and sheltered by families from Greece. Let me remind you that Greece was the only NATO member to condemn the campaign and openly expressed its disapproval. Greece has refused to recognize the Kosovo's unilateral declaration of independence, and Cyprus for that matter. I take this opportunity to reiterate once again the appreciation of government of Serbia for its support and principled position on this issue. At the same time, Greece is one of the strongest supporters of Serbia's EU accession. Last but not least, today Greece is one of the top investors in Serbian economy, thus further strengthening our friendship and cooperation. It is indeed symbolic that Serbia is expected to open accession negotiations with the EU during Greece's presidency in the first part of next year. Thank you again for inviting me here. I hope Serbian Institute continues growing and promoting Serbian interest in Washington, D.C. With this, I would finish and only say Živela Srbija. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ambassador, and I would like to congratulate you and with all our members, of course, for all the wonderful work you have done over the past years in Washington as Ambassador. You have been a wonderful and dignified representative of Serbia. You have really had great achievements that I have witnessed with the people in Washington who have great respect for you, and I think that I'm also so proud that this is an occasion where you have spoken really toward the end of your term. Maybe this is the last event that you have spoken at the end of your term, and we really thank you for all the wonderful work you have done here in Washington. Thank you so much. So this completes the speaker portion of our program. Please enjoy desserts and food, and we will listen to DC Acoustic Band some more, and enjoy yourselves, and thank you again so much for coming.
Istina razvaljuje, svaka noć ovo znovu. To što si varala, to bih ti oprostio, a što si mene, to ne mogu. Dugo na sreću, nikoga nisam a nikoga